Greetings and welcome to the first ace match that I've had the pleasure of casting for the After Hours Gaming League this season. We're in week number 3, of course, and fighting in this final match is going to be a rematch of, what we saw as one of the best Terran vs. Zerg games that I've had the pleasure of casting. Starting at the top left-hand side for Team Palantir. He is a red Terran and he's done a brilliant job in the previous game that he had. We will see Excal. And his opponent down on the bottom right hand side, the blue Zerg, who was able to do his best in the previous game that these two players had, but unfortunately was not able to take the win. It is RexChapman. Alright, so there you go with the cool, crazy intro that I normally use when I'm live casting, but I decided to pull it out here for this this replay cast that we've got. Of course, guys, you can always jump onto afterhoursgaming.tv and check out the live cast. Of course, some of the other casters here for AHGL are doing live casts. Because I'm in Australia and because it's a little bit far away and sort of the time when these guys play their game is a little bit offbeat for me, I do cast from the replays. Of course, some people were always asking about what this whole crazy arrow drawing stuff is. That is called SC2 Tactician. You can find it over at sc2tactician.com and use it for yourself. You do need to use it with XSplit and just certain other stuff that goes with it. I don't want to go into it too much, but yeah, so it is very cool to use while casting for sort of showing various things, cool things like that. Anyway, so what do we expect on this map? It is Acheron Wastes, a map that has made its way into the Wings of Liberty ladder map section. So, you know, there are some slight differences, of course. Down here, this is one thing why I think, yet again, just a bit like Newkirk City, is the lack of the destructible rock tower in the Wings of Liberty version in this, so of this map. So this actually provides you with the ability, you can remove the destructible rocks to head down to the third base there as well. Then you can drop down the rock tower so that you have a block here, which makes this third base relatively safe. This is a lot nicer for Zerg players. It's quite common in Wings of Liberty when you're playing against a Zerg player, they'll quite often take this as their third base instead of taking this one. Whereas in Heart of the Swarm, it's been, I wouldn't say it's 100% the best way to do it, but I've seen most Zerg players take this as their third base because you drop down the rocks. This is all protected for at least a short time for you to prepare for some defenses, and you know, it's a little bit nicer just because it is closer to your natural, just a little bit further away. So we'll see if either of these guys like to go a different particular style here on this map. Of course, we did see Mech from Excal in the previous game. He looks as if he is going to go for another Reactor Hellion-based opening. We'll see if he does continue on into the Mech style with a lot of Widow Mines. We also saw the tanks and the Thors, and later on into Battle Cruisers with some Ravens and all these kinds of cool things. It was a very exciting game between these two, so I am happy to see them both come out in the ace match. Of course, both teams will want to throw out these two awesome players so that they can have the best chance of winning. And I don't want to really place, you know, bets on anyone, but I really did like the way Excal played. So I have a feeling, I don't know, we'll sort of see how he goes. Looks if we're not going to have a mech-based follow-up in this game. He is going to go for a bio style, throwing down a couple of extra racks down here inside the main base. We will have just a couple of Marines coming out. Not going to go too heavy on that for the moment, just wants to make sure that he's got his economy in a good footing. Meanwhile, for RexChapman, of course, continuing on to drone up with his droney drones, those larvae providing a lot of ability to crank out a lot of drones there. He's up to 26 at the moment, got a couple more on the way, 5 more in fact, along with Ling's speed. Has stopped mining the gas there at that the gas inside the main. So he's gotten Ling's speed out extremely quickly just to make sure that he has a lot of map control, because he will be dealing with things like these Hellions. There's always a possibility of Widow Mines being something that some Terrans like to throw out very quickly. And so having that link speed is a very good way of trying to deal with this kind of thing. And it looks like Excal is going to poke up into the natural base there. Was almost about to grab a couple. Yep, I was going to say, he missed one of the drones, but then let it come back inside and roasted that one up for RexChapman. He's going to be very wary that those Hellions are out there at the front. One of them a little bit hurt, going to head back home. He's only got 13 HP, so he's going to just head back home, get a repair, and all the while, Excal just going to have a quick look at the front of that. What is, as we said, sometimes the third base in Heart of the Swarm, but normally I'd kind of expect this one to be taken. We'll see. We'll see, because of course Excal will be keeping a lot of map control at the moment. But with that, the mech style, not the play is going for this time. Of course, we do have Stim being researched. There is a reactor on 2 of these racks going up, so he is going to go up to quite a lot of marine production. A little bit surprised we don't actually see any form of wall here at his front door. He does have the added capacity that he can keep his opponent at bay for the moment, just because of these Hellions out on the map, but still, a little bit interesting to see that he hasn't even gotten started with a wall just yet. He will try and really downsize some of those creep tumors that are there. Almost got one, but unfortunately was not able to finish it off. The worker count, keep in mind, currently sitting at 39 to 29, so Excal is starting to fall behind, as you normally do in TvZ, and of course in many of the matchups with Zerg in it. Of course, they are easily able to get a lot of drones up, but the third will get established by RexChapman just across to the right-hand side. Not content to bust down the rocks and take this third base just over here, he's going to take the one that is much simpler to take, but we'll see how that fares for him later on. Looks like a few roaches are now also coming out, and Rex does go for the attack on the Hellions, but the Ling's not enough in their number there, and the Queen's also trying to come out, but not really able to deal with these Hellions too efficiently, unfortunately for him. But the roaches now out, that should end that Hellion pressure for the time being, and we'll see how Excal's going to go with his bio style instead of as we saw in that previous game, the mech style. Looks like we do have an armory going down at the back, and I think what we're going to see is perhaps a switch into the Hellbats, then maybe a Marine Hellbat push, maybe what Excal is going to do here. RexChapman, of course, continuing to drone up. His lair is just getting started now, round about a third of the way done. He's up to 72 supply in total, going to throw down that macro hatch as well, but the push is on. A lot of these Hellions have now come about. They're probably going to switch into their Hellbat form very, very soon. Keep in mind, these guys do 30 damage to light, and it splashes, which means that he's going to be able to really just punch his way through a lot of these forces here. And it's a very good push, because this timing looks very, very good. Of course, most Zerg players will only grab a few roaches if they're not going to fully commit to a roach style. And while we do see that there are some more roaches coming out from Rex, he is not going to have enough here to defend this first initial part of this push. The Hellbats at the front able to tank up quite a lot of damage, now doing a lot of splash on the ramp there, doing some decent work against the roaches, but he has gotten into the mineral line here, getting some decent work done. Of course, the Marines are a fantastic way to deal with these roaches when they are in very, very low numbers, but the Hellions now have been removed. The Hellbats, there was one Hellbat just in the mineral line there trying to deal with the Queen, and the push does get thwarted, but we'll see if he is able to keep everything at bay, because the Queen has gone down. A second Queen here in the third base is also about to go down, and with Stim and well, it looks like he is going to just maneuver himself into a good position there. So good reactions from RexChapman there. Was able to get out just enough units. That's always the way that Zerg players will want to do it. You want to have just enough defenses. You don't want to over defend. You don't want to buy into too many units, because of course that means that your drone count is going to be a lot lower, and I think that was nicely done there by Rex. He was able to deflect that without too many losses in terms of his economy. So not a bad start between these two players. The worker count currently sitting at 46 for RexChapman. His opponent currently sitting on 35, so not too bad at all for him as well. Although he is going to transition into a large amount of racks, as we can see here. That's 7 inside the main base there, and that is a decent amount for this sort of stage. Of course, we won't see him throw down the gas just yet here at the natural, because he doesn't necessarily need that just yet. We'll be getting started on 1-1 upgrades, as we can see here at the double eBay inside the main. His no upgrades for his armory just as of yet, of course, because we aren't really relying on any of the factory units just as of yet. Just gonna get a couple of Hellions out, perhaps, maybe sort of throw in a few Hellbats every now and then, but not really gonna push into too much of that. And as we saw in game number, game number 3 between these two players, the creep spread from RexChapman, very, very decent. He's now moving along. You can see that new animation for the creep tumor bouncing along the creep there. It's very cool. And behind all control of this, getting his tech started, getting +2 on the missile weapons for his roaches, and of course +1 on ground carapace as well. So he is going to go for a roach-centric style here. The interesting thing is that this is very good for dealing with early stage mech-based play, but against a bio player who's going to have these Marauders thrown in, of course the Hellbats will be there as well, and we'll probably see a few medevacs as well. There they come. We will probably see a pretty interesting timing coming out of Excal. I would not be surprised to see him just jump along once 1-1 is ready, especially considering he's now going to have those 2 medevacs as well. So we'll see if he does go for that. It looks like this Overseer, or wherever it was able to find that there was a bio style coming out of Excal, so he is going to have to perhaps change things up. We do see Hydras getting built back at home for Rex, and he does have these roaches just poking out in the middle of the map. A couple going to stay here to protect that third base for now, and the roaches are going to trying to move into position here to defend against this push, but this is still, again, going to be quite a strong push. The Marines coming to the front. Of course, the Marauders doing the extra damage to the roaches there as well, but there are 14 roaches in production. A couple of Hydras are also ready. Bear in mind, these guys are about to get their +2 to weapons here. I feel like this is a little bit early for Rex to be pushing out, but regardless, he is able to do a fantastic job there. The fact that there is a lot of creep for him to maneuver on is just fantastic there. A medevac getting shot down. Look at that, the ragdoll animations there are brilliant in Heart of the Swarm, and it looks like he is, well, we will get a drop from Excal. I don't think it's going to get too much damage done though. He may be able to get maybe a few things inside the natural there. Nope, the Roach is coming along, the Queen of course as well, and it looks like he should be able to escape from this situation right now. So back at home for Excal. After that attack, relatively failed attack there, he's currently sitting on 95 supply, got all this production going, of course with those, the Hellbat production has stopped for the moment. He may try and throw a few more in, but I doubt it given that he has seen those Hydras. He's perhaps going to want to switch into just getting out maybe even a tank or two would help out with his ability to push. Looks like he has taken his third base here. His opponent, he is sitting on a massive supply of 158, so RexChapman sitting up there in a very, very nice position right now, probably going to look to take a 4th base very soon. His creep spread is starting to get removed from the map here. The carpet cleaners of Excal now starting to move out, killing off most of those active creep tumors. There still is, oh, I thought there was one just over here, but nope, there are no active creep tumors at the moment, and it looks like Excal going to go for a hit inside the main base, dropping in 4 Marauders. Keep in mind, these guys have 1-1 on their upgrades, so they're not too bad. Unfortunately, Excal, not exactly watching here, is not able to stem up in time, and 2 of the Marauders get taken out from the by the Roach and Ling defense. So looks like we will have perhaps a push here with the muscular augment about to finish for those Hydras. They're going to get a lot faster when they're on this on the lack of creep that's now out on the map. But of course, when they're on the creep, they're even faster. And he's going to try and push inside here into this third base. This is quite unprotected for the moment, but there is a very, very big choke point here, and that's going to funnel in those Zerg units. We'll see if he is able to get inside and get some damage done. Of course, the Hydras with their 1-2 able to do a ridiculous amount of damage, and Rex is able to push inside. He's got 22 roaches building back at home. He should be able to take this orbital command, I think. Well, depends if he commits to it. He's going to stay down and in fact just try and push into the main base here. Rex is going to be just absolutely blasting his way through here. SCV is coming to the front. I'm not sure if that was intended or not, but Rex is in a very commanding position right now. 198 supply. The 22 roaches about to march their way across the map, but look at this. We've got Hydras and roaches inside the Terran base here. No real protection against this. No siege tanks to deal with the roaches, and Excal is forced to GG. So we do see, wow, what a beautiful little play there by Rex. He does come back and is able to take the victory there for Team Intel. And week number 3 here between Intel and Palantir goes to Intel. So a beautiful job by them, able to take a quick victory with 2-0, but then we did have a fight back here in the ace match. So brilliantly done by them. Hope you all enjoyed the cast. Make sure you can jump on and say hello to me on youtube.com/DuckPhilLol and on Twitter as well, on twitter.com/DuckPhilLol. And of course, you can check out more games at the After Hours Gaming League Season 3 over at AfterHoursGaming.tv. Thanks for watching, guys.